SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on this show are not the opinions of TeleSouth Communications, its management, or advertisers.
William Carey University Athletics.
Every sport you find exciting.
Crusader Talk.
Crusader Talk. And now,
This is Crusader Talk. Crusader Talk. We're covering everything William Carey University Athletics. From the field to the court and the diamond on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
Is this thing on? Is this a new year?
It's a new year.
We didn't go away. We're right on time. Welcome, everyone, to the first 2026 edition of Crusader Talk. I'm Caleb Hamill, joined by Josh West. We are happy to be with you for this brand new year of Crusader Talk episodes where we talk all things William Carey Athletics. As you heard in the open, from the field, the court, the diamond. Talk about the pool every now and then as well. All things William Carey. You're going to find it right here. Whether you're tuned in live, SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3, or streaming online in podcast form wherever you get your podcasts. It is great to be talking with you. Man, we've got a lot to catch up on. We were blessed to have a couple live basketball games as of late. And golly, our last episode was, 3 weeks ago? Maybe even more than that, because we recorded one right before the new year, or actually before Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we're already in 2 weeks deep into January, and here we are finally. But, man, basketball has been off to a hot start for the year and had a good end to the year of 2025 as well.
Oh, it certainly did. I mean, you're looking at two teams right now that are, a combined 28-1, and the ladies have now won 53 consecutive regular season games, and that's why we got Coach Garriga on the phone.
That is right. She is on the horn with us for first episode of the calendar year. Coach, you deserve the honor of being first in line, not just because of your early bedtime, but because of the success your team has this year. And, Coach, man, I was listening to Josh call the game the other day, and my goodness, what a beatdown in the most recent contest, hitting the century mark against Mobile just a couple nights ago. But what has gotten into this team for this hot start to 2025 and 26?
Man, it's great to be on the show with you guys. You always make me smile. These girls are just playing great basketball right now, playing together, just sharing the ball, and we're firing on a lot of cylinders right now.
Yeah, it's something that we talked about early in the season about. There are a lot of different players on your squad that they're in intensive majors. We'll put it at that. They have a lot of different avenues in which it can cause some conflict or cause things to be difficult to get to play the game of basketball, to get those practice sessions in and get game day ready. But it seems like when they're up against the wall or there's some adversity, they double down, and it's really helped them down the stretch, I think, in the form of creating that team chemistry, but then also just finding the results as well.
Oh, you're right about that in terms of double down. These kids are really locked in. They do what I ask of them. They come in, they're just ready to go. But like you said, actually, where the adversity was also opportunity. So when I had some of those kids that were out for classes and the different scheduling conflicts, other kids had opportunities in which I had to put them in places to be successful, and they've answered. And then since that, it's given them some extra experience, and then also helped me grow in some confidence in them, as in how we use them moving forward. With all the moving pieces.
Yeah, and Josh, thinking about some of these moving pieces, let's talk players, because coming into the year, there were the obvious names of Chanel Corpuz, Leah Sutton, Addison Shearer, but there have also been some characters that have really come alive, not to say out of the blue, but ones that have become household names seemingly overnight.
Yeah, and Coach, we talked about this, whether it was Brooklyn Cuevas and her 6 threes against Pensacola Christian, where she made 3 of her first 4 threes in that first quarter. Or then you fast forward to the Southeast Baptist game, it's Presley Thompson dropping a 20 spot with 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 steals out of nowhere. And then Charlie Gambarini, just this past weekend, she comes in. I was talking to Coach Torrey before the game, your assistant coach. She said, Josh, she might be the most efficient three-point shooter on the team, and she comes out on a day in which Chanel Corpus becomes the 9th player into the 1,000-point club, and her first 3 shots of her Carey career are all threes, and she makes all 3, and she finishes in double figures. This has been what has felt like, and I didn't even mention Bailey Duvall, and I didn't even mention Mia Doyle, and all these players that are playing their role to perfection. It seems like it's already been a full season worth of memories already.
Oh, man. But, I think the hard thing for fans when they come and see, they don't see what we see every day in practice. So that comes from the reps and the confidence I have them in practice to then get them in the game. So, I fully knew Charlie was, able and capable to do that. It's just a matter of when was the right time and place for it. She actually came to me that day. We were in question whether or not she would redshirt because she had that fracture in her back and just recently got released. And we wasn't quite sure. She's like, I may want to just redshirt. And I said, let's just play this out and see. And that same day she came to me and she said, Coach, if you see fit for a moment to play me and you want to play me, I'm ready. And I said, that's all I needed to hear.
Oh.
So, yeah, that was pretty awesome. Except, like you said, in a game in which we celebrated Chanel. These kids love one another, and the way they celebrate one another's success is just probably what's most sentimental to me.
And I'm going to get everybody's name in here, whether it's Alyssa Hillard, who had a career-high 9 points in the most recent game. We talked to her in the postgame. Anna Rose Engel has had those games where she's come in and knocked down multiple threes. Maddie Ladner, more consistent. Leah Sutton back and playing like her old self. And then, of course, like you said, Garriga, Corpus, and others that are mainstays in the lineup. It's just everybody playing their role and playing through adversity that has led to 3 top 25 wins before Christmas. Talk about just the energy within the locker room right now.
Well, I think the energy it's actually, we have a pretty steady group, locked in. Sometimes I remember just last year coaching, sometimes would look at them before a game and be like, are they ready? Are they whatever? And I said, they have this demeanor about them, and sometimes it can be misleading, but we all just stay the course. I don't know how to explain it, but we talk about it all the time in the locker room, not letting our highs be too high and our lows be too low, that, we keep our eyes locked on the goal, and we try to just ride that out with that eye on the target, And so I think the kids kind of absorb a little bit of that. But when things go well and we celebrate, we enjoy being successful and enjoy celebrating one another.
So they've taken on not only your defensive prowess, but also your game day demeanor.
Pretty much, I believe so.
Now, Coach, as we all know around here, you're a big numbers person. And as I'm looking at results so far this season, there have been, more often than not, huge gaps between your point total and your opponent's point totals. Obviously, there have been some tight ones in the top 25, and then also that conference game earlier this year with Blue Mountain, that 3-point win on the road, a tough place to play at times. But just kind of looking down at the future games coming up, you've got that long road trip out in Georgia before you come back home and host Bruton Parker and Point. But just looking at your team, and you could talk about it from a numbers perspective since I teed it up that way, what are the biggest points of emphasis for you and your team moving forward?
Well, we have goals every game, and that's basically a lot of it's what I talked to Josh about, defensive, rebounding, all the things that we can control. That's limiting turnovers, holding our opponents. I mean, we right now, I believe, are holding our opponents to 53, and that's phenomenal. Our goal is to keep everyone under 65, to average 40-plus rebounds a game, and limit turnovers. So we really focus on that. When the offensive side of things are going well, that's a great day for us. But we try to make sure that we're doing all the things that we can control. I mean, I was kind of just glancing at it, and we almost have 6 kids averaging 10 points a game, and we're sharing the ball. So, like Faulkner was like, oh, you're not going to go inside out on us. We are not letting Chanel Corpus score. So we had to actually go outside in with that. And fortunately, we were able to score the ball on the outside, and then we were able to go back to Chanel at that. But having multiple kids who are willing to step in, and it doesn't have to be about them. There's a couple of kids on our team that are glue players. They don't care a single thing about a stat line, but they do things for us, communicate and talk in the locker room, all the defensive things like that. Their name might get called a whole lot, but without them, we're not as successful as we are. So it takes everyone on this roster.
Coach, just got about a minute left, and just thinking about these next two games, what do Thomas and Abraham Baldwin bring to the table that you got to be ready for?
So Thomas is actually from one in the conference, and they're very athletic, and they have good defensive ratings, and so I look at all that. We'll do the scout on them these next couple of days. But I'll tell you something. The SSAC is probably one of the toughest conference. Any given night, you can go and play a team, and they can come in and try to upset you. Our competition is just crazy high. We've had 3 or 4 teams receiving votes this year, and then you get UT Southern, who upsets Bethel. So every single night in SSAC, whether it's this next week going Thomas ABAC, we prepare the same as if we're playing the number 1 team in the country.
Well, Coach, so far it's worked pretty well for you and the girls.
Well, thank you.
Well,
we need to get lots of people out to come and support.
Absolutely, and we look forward to having the next home game out there at Clinton Gym coming up on January 22nd. That's a Thursday night, where the Crusaders will be hosting Bruton Parker. Coach, thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thanks, you too.
All right, that is Coach Jessica Garriga of women's basketball here joining us on Crusader Talk. Coming up later on, we're going to talk to Coach Steve Knight, recapping men's basketball. Some success to be talked about there as well. More coming up as you listen to Crusader Talk.
You're listening to Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
All right, not just women's basketball going on around this time of year, obviously. Got men's basketball to talk about, too. And we've got the head man who is on the mend these days. Coach, how's that hip?
Oh, it's getting better every day.
That's what we like to
a little
hear.
bit stronger. Yeah. Cold weather made a little difference today.
For better or for worse? I've never had to recover
for
like
worse.
that.
For worse, yeah. It was very stiff today, but I made it through my PT and iced it down and just ready for another day.
Folks, if you aren't familiar with that lovely baritone to bass voice that's on our phone right now, that's Coach Steve Knight, head men's basketball coach here at William Carey University. As we continue to recap all that has happened since our last episode, boy, it has been a lot. And Coach, lucky for all of us involved, it's been a lot of winning for your group. I mean, tell us, this has been a really good, cohesive group that you've been able to piece together. A lot of guys that have come in new to the program from the offseason with a little bit of flair from last year. And y'all have been rolling for a little while, stumbled maybe just a little bit at Mobile, but really pulled away there in overtime. Let's just go with the most recent one. With Mobile coming into town most recently on Saturday, how did y'all get that one done?
Well, William Carey Mobile, whatever sport it is, it's going to be a battle, a lot of emotions. And they came in ready to play. They came in off a really huge road win down in New Orleans versus Loyola on Thursday night. And we had beaten Faulkner on that same night. So both teams would be ready to play. We knew that. And they came out and kind of, as we say, they kind of hit us in the face there early in the basketball game and made a lot of shots, shot a very high percentage over the first 10, 12 minutes and got us back on our heels, which is not where we want to be because we want to be getting up and down the court. And our guys recovered and, we're a team of runs and, we put together a 12-0 run in a very brief period of time. To get back within 2. So, from that point on, it was a battle back and forth. Two good teams, and we got it done. We had to fight and do whatever we could to get it into overtime, and I think we had the momentum going into overtime, and we played really well during that OT period and took the victory. So, really proud of our guys. Our guys. We had to replace a lot of players from last year and a lot of good players. And but our guys have stepped up. The guys who were juniors last year, seniors this year, they've been really good leaders and they don't ever stop. They don't ever believe that they're going to lose a basketball game. And we just kept plugging away, and just forced ourselves on them down the stretch and got the W.
Well, Coach, this team, from what I can tell, is, to just say very simply, they're fast. A very fast team, likes to score often. And for a lot of different coaches, it really is dependent on what kind of personnel group you have out there. Usually a fast team is centered around some really good guard play. But what's been that winning combination for you so far this year?
Well, guys, I told PJ in the recruiting process, and he knows me, been around me for a while, and I've never been one that wants to sign a bunch of guys who are 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", can't move, because I want to press, I want to half-court trap, I want to get up and down the floor. So we've always been a little bit undersized. But, what you worry about there is, okay, what are you going to do on the glass? And this team, to me, rebounding is nothing but effort. It's about going and wanting that basketball when it comes off the rim. And our guys, they play tough and they play strong. We've held our own against some teams that probably should have out-rebounded us. But we use our athleticism and our grit to go get the ball, and we've got a lot of those type players. And it allows us to play small, which creates terrible matchups for the opposing team. So you'll see us spread the floor in half court a lot, and just take a one-on-one matchup and try to drive it and make something happen. And those guys like playing that way. And of course, on missed shots, the team has to get back on defense as well, because we're going to push it every single time. And I think the open three in transition is a good shot. I think sometimes it's better to take that than it is to slow down and run your half-court stuff and battle against guys holding and pushing, shoving, grabbing. And so I'll allow them to do that. Of course, they have to get on the good list of being, okay, I'm one of these shooters that can take that shot. But other than that, it's fun to watch. They drive the coaches a little bit crazy because we shoot so quickly. You can get on a good run or a bad run very, very fast. And, sometimes it's worked against us a lot of times. Most of the time it's worked in our favor.
Well, it makes for good spectator basketball, and I think Josh has had a great front row seat for all that.
Oh,
yeah.
And
it's fun to watch.
Coach Archie was obviously emotional after the ball game the other day. Had a chance to talk to him, and I asked him, how was he, first of all, where did he find Zion Hunter, and how does he hide him? But it's those type of athletes. Carey's got some, Mobile's got some. They're all over this league. I mean, this is an elite league in terms of talent. If you're a fan of basketball, you'll enjoy coming out and watching Carey and watching the basketball in this league.
Yeah, you look at it, our starting point guard from the last 2 years is the starting point guard at Southern Miss this year, and doing a really good job. So, the starting point guard from Life, he's a starting point guard at South Alabama. So those type players are all over the place in the NAIA, and quite a few of them are in our league, and it makes for good battles every night.
Coach, you were mentioning the speed at which the game is played, and a couple of numbers you can hang your hat on, and you've heard me talking about this a bunch on the broadcast. Carey, number one in the country in steals per game, 16.2, number one in turnovers forced at 23.4, and then you've got a guy in Makeem Roberts who has dubbed himself the glue guy when he got here, and he's been every bit of that and more. He averages almost 4.5 steals per game, leads the country. I mean, with those type of numbers, if you put together a little offense, and Carey does, 7th in the country at 92 points a game, well, that's why this team's 14-1 and could be 15-0.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal player. He's got great anticipation on defense, really long arms. And last year we played him inside. This year he's playing point guard, so it shows his versatility. And he's shooting the ball better this year. So we hate to take him out of a game because he's so valuable. But he needs that rest, and we've got good players coming off the bench to give him a break. So I think one key this year is we added a 6'6" forward, Anthony Robinson, who is also a defensive-minded player with quick hands, long arms, and he gets a lot of steals himself. So now we've got two. We're not relying on just one guy to get all the steals or the majority of them. There's two guys that can really do it, and I think it just makes us stats don't lie, and it shows where we are as far as creating steals. It's hard if you don't have that type of team where you split up in practice and play against one another with that type quickness and that type of anticipation, that type pressure. We're trapping a lot and just creating havoc. If you can't replicate that in practice, it's going to hit you in a game. Now teams normally get more used to it as the season goes on. It's harder and harder to get those turnovers. But so far, we're in mid-January. We've still got it going our way, so we're hoping that our overall pressure and our ability to substitute and keep fresh guys in there will keep us on top. Because if we don't get steals, that hurts us. We have to get in transition. We need to create a lot, and it's fun watching those guys be able to do that.
All right, Coach, we've got about 45 seconds left here. New Year's resolutions time for a lot of different people. What is kind of that mantra for your team moving forward for the remainder of this 2026 part of the year?
Well, I think we just need to work hard on the process of getting better. And these guys have bought into what we're doing. They work hard every single day in practice. And I think that, we talk about turnovers all the time. I think that we need to cut down on our turnovers. If you look at our total turnovers, a lot of them are just, careless things. We need to clean that up. And we need that turnover margin to be, 15 in our favor. So we need to get that down. Once we do that, we're gonna really, really improve overall as a team. And one thing about it is we score it so well. Sometimes it hides some of the things that you're not doing well. So I think that's the main thing that we need to get better at. So our New Year's resolution would be to clean things up, work hard, get ready for progressing down into February time and tournament time, and be the best we can be at that point in time.
Sounds like a plan, Coach. Well, congratulations on a good season so far. And by the way, congrats on that 800th career win as well. Forgot to mention that. And best of luck in your healing process moving forward.
That's great. I'm hoping see the doctor Friday. I'm hoping to get back out there next week.
Sounds good, Coach. All right, see you around. More coming up on Crusader Talk.
You're tuned in to Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
Josh, I don't feel like I've had a chance to breathe and just say, hey, how was your holiday break?
It was way too quick.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, we were right back into the thick of things with basketball. You had umpteen number of games to cover, and I had my first live basketball game, men's basketball game, that is, to call in 2 years. And I went out to Austin not too long ago. And
that sounded great. I caught it.
Appreciate it.
I muted the TV, turned up the radio. It was fantastic.
There you go. Roy Philpott does a good job on that TV call. He would have been fun to listen to as well. But
I didn't realize he was on the call. I literally had been listening to you on the radio, then put it on the phone, then came in and just turned on the TV and muted it and synced it. So I never even knew that he was on the call. Yeah, he does a really good job.
And Coach Knight, well, he's been home on the mend. He's been able to listen to you and watch you as well.
Yes, he was gracious in his critique. He just said it was fine.
That's good. I was about to say, that's about the roaring recommendation Jim Ellis got from Ron Polk a long time ago. He'll do.
Yeah, he'll do. He also said he hates watching it. So I get it. What do you say with that as a broadcaster? It's like, oh man, Coach hates he wants to be there.
Right.
He can't pace the sidelines. I knew what he meant, but we're so insecure as broadcasters. We're so needy for approval of others.
How did I do? But he had
because
FOMO.
You want feedback. You want feedback if there's something they can pick up on. But I was talking about the speed at which Kerry plays.
Oh man.
So again, the 16 steals and the 23 turnovers forced, but yet he said Carey's averaging about 15 a game. They'd love to get that down another 3 to 5 per game, and love to be plus 15 in the turnover categories. I think what he was hinting at with the plus 15 comment. And then 92 points per game, 7th in the country at 92 points per game. Very, very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. Looking at some standings, real quick. Men's basketball, a lot on both divisions still to play for. In fact, pretty tight race on both halves. Bruton Parker leading the way in the Eastern Division with a 5-1 record. Life not too far behind them, just a half game back at 5-2. Dalton State at 4-2. Then there's a little drop off for the final three of that side of Thomas, Point, and ABAC. Each of those with 2 wins, except for ABAC with only 1. So Thomas and Abraham Baldwin, the next 2 opponents for Carey, a combined 3-9 in conference play between those two. Now you flip it over to the West. William Carey leading the way with a 4-1 record. Faulkner right behind them, tied with Mobile at 5-2. Loyola with a 3-2 record. Tennessee Southern 2-5, and the Blue Mountain without a win so far in the conference slate.
I wanted to add this though. You were mentioning the upcoming schedule. Last year in Thomasville, Georgia, 72-67 loss on a midweek game. They will have their baseball team out in the student section. They have a really, really raucous student section at Thomas. So when you get them on a Thursday night, you'd rather get Thomas on a Saturday because of the atmosphere. Their students show up, they get loud, they get on you, they give you a hard time, they rag you a little bit. So credit to them. It is a good environment to play in. And we caught Dillard on a very favorable date. The first Monday of the new year with school out, no band, no stream. No video stream even.
I thought you were talking about how they unplugged you a couple times there.
They did unplug me a couple times.
They tried to cut out your stream too.
Well, and I wish they would have just told me they were ready to go home. They acted like they didn't see it. But I wish you would have just said, we're ready to go home. You need to wrap it up. And I would have said, I respect that.
Well, I told you before, Ben Milam had gotten cut off by Dillard as well whenever he went down there.
Yeah.
But he had the band, and the band made the post-game show about nearly impossible to hear because of how loud the horns were.
But I just think, so far the schedule has stacked up very favorably, but you've got the matchup at Thomasville. ABAC is going to be much tougher at home. You get Bruton Parker at home, which is a good thing. Point, you have them at home. You could afford to have them on the road, but at Loyola, brutal. At Life, really tough. At Dalton, really tough. So 4 of the next 5 road games are going to be absolutely brutally tough. So we're going to know a lot more about where this team shakes out. And, Faulkner pulls the upset against Loyola men.
Yeah.
83-82. So Loyola loses 2 home games in a row. It's the rivalry game with Carey coming up on Monday night, January 26th. How laser-focused is Loyola going to be coming back home after having lost a couple of home games to non-rival? Well, I'll say non-rivals. They're rivals. But Carey, the big rival, the closest rival, that's going to be really, really tough. And by the way, game added to the radio broadcast schedule.
Yes.
This Saturday, the ABAC game, the men's game will be on the radio coming up this Saturday to replace the game we lost Faulkner on the radio Thursday because of the Ole Miss game in the semis.
Yeah. So, fun little note, by the way, on Abraham Baldwin. Yeah, because they, as well as Thomas, are the next opponents for Carey. Abraham Baldwin has actually played Thomas twice. Once as a non-conference game or out-of-conference band game earlier in the regular season. Actually won that competition when they hosted the Nighthawks 83-75, but whenever they went to Thomas, lost by 9, 77-68.
So a little bit of a credence to the comment I'm making. Thomas is not an easy place to play.
No, not at all. And that was right after New Year's, too. So probably had still a decent environment even right after the New Year on that Saturday. But nevertheless, a decent team coming up in Thomas. Abraham Baldwin been on a slide as of late. They've lost 7 straight, as a matter of fact. But can't can't count out anybody in this league. There's all kinds of parity up and down. You saw, as you just mentioned, Faulkner and Loyola an upset earlier in this portion of the schedule. But after that, we've got a couple really good games coming up as far as it relates to events going on in Hattiesburg. Bruton Parker comes into town on January the 22nd. That'll be a 5:30 start for the women, 7:30 for men. And then Point comes into town on that Saturday the 24th, a 12 o'clock women's contest, and then 2 o'clock are the men playing the Skyhawks. But the big events centered around those two games involve the different people that you're going to see out on the floor. So obviously we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Coach got his 800th career win. Going to have a special congratulatory, I wouldn't call it a ceremony, but some recognition for Coach coming up.
Yeah, and they're going to invite former players back, and that's going to be details. More details will be on next week's episode. The athletic department, Tracy, Ben, and everyone still working out the details of that, but that'll be on Thursday night, the 22nd.
And then there's a women's basketball recognition thing also going on at one of those games.
That is going to be the ring ceremony. They'll get those championship rings, conference championship rings, and that'll be coming up on the 24th, which I love. This is something that is not, unprecedented at Cary, but Cary, the bar had been raised so high at Cary to where we kind of quit celebrating conference championships in a way.
It's crazy to think about.
And so Ben said, and others, hey, we can't take this for granted. There could come a day, and history would probably say that at some point it will come, where you're not winning a conference. It's not a birthright, so to speak. We got to celebrate these. And so one of my neatest moments so far of doing Cary Athletics is when we got the small commemorative championship posters, and we had the autograph session in the post game for those ladies after the last regular season game.
Did they get to cut down the nets, by the way, for that? I couldn't remember if they did or not.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe they
Probably
did.
because we had a men's game right after
But they
that.
were able to. But so fans, young fans, got to get an autographed, William Cary women's basketball poster with all their favorite players. I mean, again, these are the things that create lasting memories. It's a chance for alumni and their family, and fans and their family, to grow up the next generation of Crusader fans, because this thing's only getting bigger and bigger every year. And what this team is doing is a continuation of the regular season championship, undefeated regular season last year, which is a continuation of the co-championship and winning the final 13, 14, 15 games of that regular season.
Yeah, all regular season games in the calendar year.
So over 2 calendar years since Cary has lost a regular season game. And look, talking about it or not, eventually they're going to lose another regular season game. But I really like their chances in the next 4. And then I think that the game that it could have ended last year, could have ended the perfect regular season, was in Loyola, was in New Orleans, or at Loyola in New Orleans. And Loyola is so talented, especially in the post. So it's been the development of Anna Rose Engel and Bailey Duvall that has been so key. And Mia Doyle. Mia Doyle played almost a career-high minutes of 16 on Thursday night. Her career high was 18 minutes. She played 16 in the first half against Faulkner. She finished with a career-high 24 points. Or 24 minutes, excuse me, but she is putting up now a lot of nights. You're getting those 7 points, 5 rebounds, maybe a block, maybe a couple steals. She's really, and she plays so relaxed, and she's a good free throw shooter, and it's starting to happen for her a little bit, and I think that's kind of feeding her and getting her more into the game.
By the way, as we were talking about honoring different people involved in the different basketball programs, I have to shout out to Chenille Corpus for reaching the 1,000-point mark.
Incredible.
In her career. And she's just a junior, only halfway through her junior season and already hit it.
Already did it on an and one. Did it on a really neat little banker shot, falling down, got hit, and made the free throw. So really special moment for her. And on a game where Addie Scherer had a career-high 20, And Gambarini comes in, and her first 3 shots of her Carey career, all 3-point attempts, all 3 made. She played less than a minute. So she gets into the game, first time she touches the ball in her Carey career. 3-pointer, another 3, and then another 3.
Sounds like she needs more minutes.
And she's getting them. Yeah, and she's getting them. That came in the very next game. So, they got to bring her along as her fitness, to use a soccer term, comes along. Her conditioning comes along in basketball terms. But it's just another depth piece on this team. So, very, very talented team. Can they take the next step and get to the final site? Short answer, yes. Need to stay healthy. They're a little banged up, and they're going to be banged up. Every team's banged up this time of year. But if they can stay healthy, they got a chance.
Yeah, I definitely think so. In fact, that's the kind of thing that we've seen from women's soccer over the years of William Carey. With the depth they've been able to have, they've had long runs into the postseason in years past. Right now, that's kind of seeming like what Coach Garriga has been able to do with this women's basketball team so far this year. But yeah, like you said, it's a hump to get over. Moving forward, trying to get to that final site, trying to get out of that opening round. Well, we've got one final segment with you for our inaugural episode of the 2026 calendar year. Stay with us.
Talking everything William Carey University athletics. This is Crusader Talk on SuperTalk Hattiesburg 97.3 and SuperTalkHattiesburg.com.
Well, already off to a hot start here in 2026. Glad you're with us here on Crusader Talk. Good conversations earlier with Coach Garriga of women's basketball and then Coach Knight. And props to him. He's been battling that hip, and he is going to be back on the floor before we know it. Got big competition coming up. A lot of traveling to be had for all William Carey teams this week, as a matter of fact. Mentioned the basketball squads will be on the road into Georgia. Thomasville, Georgia, the location where men's and women's action will take place on Thursday night, just north of Tallahassee, just a stone's throw over the border.
Yeah, 30 minutes away.
Yeah. Go to Publix, get you some crab legs, and then travel up north to Thomas, get you some good basketball.
Well played. Well played.
Saturday, action-packed day for track and field. They've got 2 different meets going on. I think they've split up the team. Some are going to the Commodore Challenge in Nashville, Tennessee, and others are going to Samford and Birmingham for the Samford Open there. Swimming will be in action down in New Orleans to face off against Loyola. I don't know where they swim, by the way. I know there's plenty of pools down that way, but I don't think it's a situation of It's a Wonderful Life where the basketball gym floor opens up and there's a pool underneath, because I know there's a parking garage under there, not enough room for the water. But nevertheless, Coach Gonzalez's squad will be down there to face off against the Wolfpack in a meet at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning, and then also Abraham Baldwin in Tifton, Georgia at 11-1 women's and men's.
When do you have your swim meet?
That is not this Saturday, but next Saturday, I want to say.
So it's here.
It's coming.
You'll enjoy that.
I hope so.
Yeah, you'll enjoy that. It's a lot of fun.
It'll be my maiden voyage when it comes to swimming stuff, so... thank you for reminding me, by the way. I had to remind you of your first meet on the week of. You're giving me a little bit more forewarning, so I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you. But, big things coming up, by the way. Baseball is right around the corner. If you can believe it, we've only got one more Crusader Talk episode here in January because of live game we're covering at the end of the month where Crusaders will be facing off against, I should say, Loyola down in New Orleans a couple Mondays from now. So on Martin Luther King Day, I should say, we're going to be talking a lot about baseball previews because they start their season the final weekend of the month, if you can believe that.
I can't. It's crazy because it feels like, and this is coming, it feels like it's just now starting to get cold, because it is.
Yeah. Winter was kind of a late bloomer, if you will. She kind of arrived late, waited until the new year. I have a feeling that once old Puxatawny Phil comes out and wants to look for his shadow, I think he's going to find it because we haven't had much winter at all. So I expect we'll have 6 more weeks once that happens on Groundhog Day. But just looking ahead, Josh, we're about to hit just that big, meaty part of crossover season. We're going to be talking basketball, and then baseball. Softball will be right around the corner. And by the way, if you have not already made your plans to come out and support baseball this year, you've got a little bit of extra time because their first weekend of the year, I mentioned that last weekend of January, they're going to be playing on the road down in Shreveport, Louisiana. So the first action that you'll get to see the Crusaders live and in person up here in Hattiesburg and Milton Wheeler will be on February 6th, Friday, with a face-off against Columbia International. Game time will be 3:30 that afternoon. Hope you'll join us out there. It'll be one of two games, so you get a doubleheader of action there between the Crusaders and Columbia International, and then as well as Campbellsville later on into the evening. It'll be kind of a round-robin type of tournament going on that weekend, as Crusaders will also have the doubleheader against those two teams in reverse order on Saturday, 3:30 and 6:30 the times there. So make your plans to be out there to Milton Wheeler Field this year. Going to be a lot of new faces, and we look forward to telling you all about those coming up next week. Still waiting to hear back from Coach Halford. Maybe we'll get a chance to interview him for the show. If not, maybe Jamie McMahon or Coach Eric Ebers will be available for that, because there are a lot of people to get acquainted with when it comes to this William Carey team, because out of the guys that saw regular time on the field last year, not many position players back. You have Tyler Ducksworth, who's back. Jaden Mark saw some time behind the plate and a little bit at first base as well. He's back. DJ Booth was in the starting lineup a lot last year. But outside of those, just a couple pitchers and a couple substitutes that saw a little bit of playing time later on in the year that are coming back. But looking forward to seeing what this group is going to be made of, is they bring in a lot of different transfers in and a lot of just newcomers to William Carey baseball, and we look forward to introducing those to you across the network and all on the Crusader platforms. By the way, if you don't have the William Carey Athletics app, get it and start earning your points, because you're going to have a lot of opportunities come this spring to get those points and come away with some great merchandise by the end of the year. You've gotten some, by the way, from just getting to call some games and maybe even read some articles.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely, with basketball and with all the doubleheaders. And it's a lot of fun when you catch a softball, baseball doubleheader.
Oh, yes. You can definitely get it
Take
all.
in 2? Well, why not take in 4?
That's right. The more the merrier. I think Landon Rosary has the most points of anybody so far since the app's inception. And he's redeemed some of his points. I don't know if he has the most current points, but I think he's accrued the most.
He's got a
long-term
baseball jersey. He's got a pinstripe baseball jersey, I promise.
See? There's all kinds of different stuff that you can get if you download the William Carey Athletics app. So just search for that on your app store, and you can find out all the details of that. But partner, best of luck on your trip out to Georgia. Going to be a fun one.
You need to go 4-0?
We do indeed. That would be excellent moving forward as the Crusaders fight to stay atop the SSAC rankings and march their way into the postseason. Well, that does it for our first episode here in 2026. For Dalton Stanford behind the board, Josh West to my right, I'm Caleb Hamill. Until next time, good night, God bless, and go Saders.
A SuperTalk Mississippi media production.